onto my chat window because I'd like to let everybody know. If you ever record anybody, I just want to warn everybody, if you ever record, you should always let them know that you're recording, because in various states, it doesn't matter where you are, it matters where you both are is what matters. So if you're recording somebody on the East Coast and you're recording somebody on the West Coast, the laws are different. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this session. Okay. And so I always put into a chat window anytime I do record that I am recording, because I don't want anybody coming in and not knowing that I'm recording, and I don't want to get in trouble. So if you don't want to be recorded, your voice being recorded, nobody's video is on except for Wayne's, which is fine. If you don't want to be recorded, your voice being recorded, just don't talk, just use the chat window, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and get started then. I had my times kind of messed up, so Wayne and I had a very nice talk for a while. So I wanted to just show everybody, this is actually a real APA formatted paper. And this is a paper I did for school. It's kind of a good example because I messed up myself. Okay, so I just want you to know that. And so actually I made some changes while I was talking with Wayne and on my paper, but I want you to know we're all human, we all make mistakes. But the big thing is that what I'm concerned about is that I don't want you to send you to other classes without making sure that you all know how to do citations, because it's going to be a requirement regardless whether you're taking a business ethics class, a psychology class, or a writing class. You have to do citation. So what a citation is like if you are quoting something from like an article or a book, or you are paraphrasing from an article or book. Maybe you read something online and you brought it to the paper and you put it into the paper. So one of the, so you have to make sure you cite your source, because you're giving credit to the author. So I'm going to just go through and I'm going to show you some insight I do this every time, in-text citation, okay? So we're going to do a citation in the text, and I'll show you how that's done, and then I'll show you the references at the end, and then I'm going to show you the amazing tool. It's the reference tool in Microsoft Word. I do not know if you use Google Docs. I don't know if you have this tool. Also, one other thing, in case none of you knew this, because you are a KCC student, you have 5 copies of Office 365 and Office 2016 that you can download on any device, up to 5 devices. And it's good for 2 years after your graduation or 2 years after you leave KCC. You have that copy of Microsoft Office. I do have a video, I believe, in the class that shows you how to download the Office onto your computers and stuff like that. There's also Office for your phones. So I just want to make sure that I get that out there. Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking. I have a citation right here, and this is actually was done incorrectly, but you can see here, I have it quoted because I actually pulled the actual data straight from a source. I copied it word for word. So when you're copying word for word, you've got to make sure you put quotations around it, okay? So what happened here is actually when you have greater than 40 words, which you can see down here, it's counted right there, 89 words. If you ever have anything over 40 words, it has to be in its own. It needs to be right there, and then you have to indent it, okay? Let's go right here. So you just indent it. Anything over 40 words. I just want to stress that. So if you just take a sentence and you're quoting it, make sure you put the quotes around it, but you don't have to do an indent. At the end of the citation, though, you can see here I have a citation built right there. So anytime, whether it's the paraphrase or the direct quote, it always goes at the very end of the information that you're citing. Okay, so like if you're pulling something from the book and you say, hey, this is and this is important too. I think I've corrected a few of you on this. When you say, hey, I read this and it was in our business ethics book and this is what it said. just remember if you're using a book and you're quoting something from a specific page or pages, it's always a comma and then the page number. You have to have that in there if you're quoting something from a book, okay? All right, and then, so I just want to make sure you all understand that. Hold on one second here. And then, let's see. Okay, so again, so if you're citing a book, you have to make sure that you add that page number. So that includes our book. So if you're reading something from our book and you're saying, oh, that fits into this thing here, this is where it showed up at. Because when somebody's reading your paper, they want to know where you got your information from, not necessarily how you got it or anything like that, but say, you know, hey, this is some great information and I need to go see what she's talking about because, wow, you know, this will fit into my paper really well. This gives them, okay, this gives them the book and the page number, and now they can go find it. And we'll get to the reference part later, why we don't go into the whole, you know, we don't put into the book title or anything like that. So be very aware of that when you're quoting a book. But a lot of what I'm asking you guys to do too, when you're answering your assignments, please try to go out and find an article that backs up your claims. Because again, a lot of you have some really great points. I've been so excited to see what you have to say, because you have very good opinions and points, and I'll say it in the paper that I make sure you read the documents that I attach to your when I do your grades, because I'm telling you that where some places are that you can really cite, get a claim, find an article that will back up your claim or your opinion. And that's what you want to do, is you want to make sure that you're backing up what you're saying. You know, you can just say, you know, I can say, well, you know, this business was unethical because they did this. Well, okay, but how do I know that? How did I, you know I pulled it out of my head, but now, is there somebody else who agrees with me? And that's what a citation is finding the fact to back up your claim, okay? So you want to make sure that you get the in-text citations. I'm going to keep calling it in-cite taxation because I just can't get that back in my head for some reason. So again, you can just see here, again, another set of quotes. And you see here how I have it quoted around here. One other thing, if you are quoting a quote within a quote, okay, so say this was a quoted, this right here was a quoted sentence, you would actually use the double quotes, do a space and then a quote, or I forget what apostrophe, I guess is, so you have the single quote and then the double quotes. It's kind of really confusing, but just know that you will get hit, especially in English class, for that you didn't quote your quote. So it's very confusing. But anyway, but you can see here that I did quote something here, but I waited to the very end because I was continuing to say something about it. And then I did the quotation there, okay? So I want you to be very careful with your quotations. You all have been given a really good try. I've been really happy with what you've been doing, and it's been really exciting because I see the attempts, and that's the first step. It really is. So let's go ahead on down here. You'll see in my paper too, I'll show this real quick to you, where I have this sick. I just want to point this out in case this ever happens in our class. If you are quoting something, you cannot change the words that were quoted, okay? Because that is the author's information. That's how they wrote it. So you can't change it, because then now you're plagiarizing. So you can use sick. Right there, you can see it. It's just saying, and it has to be the square brackets around it. It's just saying that's the way it was written by the author. So I'm not changing it. I'm just quoting it directly from that individual and putting that sick in there just so that they know that I really didn't spell it wrong. So again, and this paper right here that I'm kind of going over, a lot of quotes in it. It is an okay way of doing that. But what I want to challenge you to do, if you are going to do a citation and you're going to try to find an article to back you up, try to paraphrase it. Try to reword it so that it's what you are saying. You still have to cite the source, but try to learn how to rewrite it to fit your narrative. If you want to use just quotes, it's okay, but don't make your whole paper quotes, okay? especially in the assignments, I would limit it to 2, okay? Because otherwise your whole paper is going to be quoted, a quote, and it's not okay, all right? Another thing when you're citing, and I just want to be very careful about this, you can see here I have some ellipses. That means that there was information before, but I didn't need it, okay? I just wanted to reference a certain part of the quotation here. So if you have information in front of or behind that you're not going to use in your quote, you just use the ellipses. So if there was more information here, I would just add an ellipse here. So that means there's more to the sentence here, and there's more to the sentence at the beginning and at the end. So you know, we'll get a little bit closer to doing that later, or you will, not me. I'm already done. So I just want you to be aware that you will do this, that this will come up as well. So as we get towards the bottom, and just so you know, this is really a quick session. I think the longest I've gone before was 30 minutes, just because it's really easy to do citations. And so, but anyway, I'm digressing, and I do have a tendency to do that. So down here, you can see my references, all right? I didn't type these all up. I just, you know, which is real, well, not in the same sense. I did type them all up, but I used, again, the reference tool in Microsoft Word, and I have talked to writing teachers, and they are okay with this, okay? They do actually recommend you use the reference tab in Microsoft Word because it makes your life a lot easier. As you do go along, see this paper, like I said, it was a good example. This is all single space in APA format, and you don't have to worry about it for this class, but I'm just telling you, in APA format, this should be double spaced. It should actually look like that, okay? So just so you're aware that that is the correct way. When you're using the Microsoft Word references tab to do your references, or you could be using another one. Wayne was telling me he was using EasyBib, and I've used Citation Machine, and then there's I don't know, Zotero is another one I think that's out there. There's a lot of them out there, but I really actually found that Microsoft Word is the best one. Anyway, when Microsoft Word puts it in, it actually puts it in its own font and puts it double spaced. So make sure when you put in your references in that they match the font of your paper, and so that it doesn't look kind of wonky. I really get concerned when I see papers with different fonts in them that I've received as an assignment, because it kind of makes me say, well, did this person like just copy and paste from somewhere else? So, you know, it's those little things that can trigger an instructor, just so you know. I'm giving you some what's the word I'm looking for? Just, I'm just trying to help you make sure that you use your sources correctly without plagiarizing, but also how you can format a paper so that you're not kind of triggering your instructor to say, well, where did this come from? Why does she have 4 different fonts here? Okay, which I do in this paper. So this is why it's a great example. So when you want to get a an article, let's just say, I'm just going to pull up I think there was one I pulled up the other, oh, I know which one I liked. Enron is one. Enron was my ultimate favorite business ethics stories. I think I think we have one, or if we don't, I may make it one of the case studies for the end of the term for one of your papers. Absolutely love this case because it was just so phenomenally, they were awful. They were an awful group. And so let me see, Enron, and let me go with the vision statement, I think is what it is, and values. Here, let's see. Okay, so here's the vision statement and their values, and this is just so beyond what they did. I would have liked to have used this as a reference, but I'm not going to be able to because I don't have the information, because I want to show you from the beginning to an end. So let's go ahead and pull the New York Times article here. So again, I'm going to say that Enron is like the worst company ever. They had this vision statement saying that they were going to protect people and that they are the best company. They have these high morals, these high values, high ethics, and then they wound up not having all of that stuff. And then I would then reference this article to say, as noted in the New York Times, you know, they state that Enron said that they were going to respect other individuals and they were going to treat people fairly and stuff. However, they treated grandma, you know, they called up grandma and told her, hey, you know, we're going to foreclose on your house. I don't remember, it was something with electricity, but anyway, we're going to foreclose on your house. I'm just using it as an example. Foreclose on your house because you missed the payment by, you know, 10 cents and, you know, we're going to kick grandma out, or we're going to do whatever. So it would back up my statement that I initially made while referencing a source and saying, okay, so here's where the proof is. It's the proof in the pudding. I don't know if y'all know that expression or not. So anyway, so this is the article that I'm going to choose to use. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize these. I got a really teeny tiny computer. So my screen's, I think, 11 inches. So it might look a little bit small for you guys, but maybe not if you're viewing. And again, if you're on your phone or something, don't worry. I'm going to make this into a video. And I do appreciate you coming up because you're still getting some information that, although you may not be able to see, you can definitely hear about. So what I would do, and actually I'm going to get rid of all of these references because I'm going to pretend like they didn't exist. Okay. And the other thing that I've noticed with a lot of people too, with the references, you always have to put it on its own page. So when somebody's reading your article, that it goes on your own page, its own page. References, I don't care if it's one page and you have like this here and you have that whole space there, you cannot put it down in here. You have to put it on its own page. All right, so let's go to references. So if you're in Microsoft Word, you want to go to the references tab and go to manage sources. And we'll talk about the references tab a little bit more there. So I'm going to get rid of all of these because we don't need them right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to new. And if you are pulling something from a website, you have choices here. This does give you a lot of choices. You have book section, journal, article in a periodical. You know, I can keep going on, okay? The one that I would recommend using most of the time is the website. Now, if you're using like a PDF, then it's a document from a website. If you're using a journal article that you've read online, you need to use the journal. But for right now, for level 2 classes, 1 and 2 classes, website is just fine because you're probably going to be using mostly articles, okay? So what we're going to do is look for the author. And you could put in his name right here. And we're going to put in his name. So his name's James S. Coonan. Now I'm going to add myself as another author because I just want you to see how it works. If you go into edit, then you can just start adding additional authors. So you can have, because a lot of these papers and articles have anywhere from 1 to 10 authors, okay? So this is just the easiest way to do it. And I'm just going to say add and okay. Now, if you do get a paper or an article that you found that does not have an author, and a good example is that is like a government office, U.S. Department of Education, U.S. Department of Geology, you know, those types of things. You can just click on author, corporate author, and then put that information here. You would put, you know, U.S. Department of Energy, okay, instead of the authors here, okay. I'm not going to do that right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that, but I just want to give you that as a heads up. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to put it, uncheck that again. So the name of the web page is actually the name of the article. So it's going to be Enron's vision and values thing. Okay, so when you are putting in the name of the web page, APA format, it changes consistently. So right now, it's always the first word is capitalized, the rest is lowercase, unless you are talking about a noun, so a person, place, or thing. So if it's if Enron, if it said visions and values things for Enron, Enron will still be capitalized at the end, okay? Otherwise, it's just the first word that's capitalized. Then the next thing is the name of the website, which is the New York Times, okay? Gosh darn it, I'm having troubles typing today. And then you want the date of the article, which is right here. Now, if there is no date, just leave this part blank, okay? Because it'll come up as N period D. That means no dates. You'll see that occasionally when you're going through papers and stuff like that, that it says NWD, N period D. If you have an instructor that wants you to have the retrieve date from when you retrieve the information, if you click on show all bibliography fields, you can find that down here. Or not down there, I'm sorry, it's further down here. Month accessed. APA format, or year, month, and day access. APA format has changed. Like I said, it consistently changes, but some of your instructors will want to see that. I don't require that. But if you want to get into the habit of doing it, I would recommend putting it in there. So just make sure you show all bibliography fields, and then put in your year and date and month and day of access. So I just want you to be aware of that. Again, I don't require it, but other instructors may, okay? So I just want you to keep that in mind when you're doing this, and say, well, Mrs. Warden or Edith told it. Oh, Edith, by the way, if you want to know how to say my name, you know, Edith told us that we didn't have to do this. Oh my gosh, you know, I don't want to give you incorrect information. So find out from your instructor, say, hey, I'm doing this in APA format. I would like to know if you want me to do a retrieve from, so I can do it correctly. As I said, I don't require it because it's not required by APA anymore. Anyway, so let's move on. So we got 202 is the year of the article, January, and you want to spell out the year, or the month, not the year. So you want to just spell out the month of January, and then the day is 19. And then you want to just grab the URL. So you can just click on here, right click, you know, copy. I'm sure everybody knows how to do this. It's also Control C and Control V, and then you can paste it and just say, okay. Now I have it in there. And honestly, I would recommend, if you are going to do like a paper that requires 3 or 4 references, which I'm not requiring except for the last paper, and I will warn you that I am going to require 3 references. But if you find 10 articles, go ahead and put all of that into the APA form, you know, into this part here in the manager, because you can always delete them later. As you saw what I did earlier, I actually just deleted them all out. So, so you can definitely have them all in there. You don't have to use them all, but at least if you have them, it makes your life a lot easier. Then you don't have to go looking for them again, and then you already have them in there. Now, if you want to see what the APA format is going to look like in your paper, you can actually see it right here. It's kind of just showing you what the bibliography looks like and what the citation is going to look like. So this is the in-text citation, what it's going to look like in the text, and we're going to do that in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of here. So let's go back up in the paper and say, you know what, I need to put that citation right here. So I'm going to put my little cursor there, and I'm going to go to insert citation, and go ahead and just click right there. And then it just automatically does it for you. So that's what's really nice about it. Now, again, if you're a book, you're using a book, you have to put the page number in. And so when you're here, you can click on the reference here, and on the drop down menu here, just do convert citation to static text. And then once you do that, then you can put in the page number. Otherwise you can't, okay? So let's just do page 51. Otherwise, if it's not converted to the static text, it won't let you edit that part of it, just so that you know. But if it's not a book, don't worry about it. You just leave it in place. You can see here too, this kind of is an interesting, let's go look at it actually, kind of citation, because I've seen where some students have used a website like that. Oh, look at that, it doesn't even exist anymore. Well, there you go for anyway, there was a place, but anyway, sometimes you just may be referencing a website, and this again doesn't have any authors in it. So I can't put in the actual author. I have to actually put in the website, and that's when you would use it. But again, it's only if I quoted or paraphrased from the website. So let me go ahead and just bring this back out again. So anyway, so that's how you do an in-text citation. Now, if I'm all done with my paper and I go down here, I'm going to go to bibliography. And you do have a few choices here. There is bibliography, references, and works cited. It depends again on most of your instructors, but 99% of your instructors are going to say, please do references, not works cited. And that's all you do, is you just click on that little button and it put it in for me. I didn't have to do anything. I have to retype it. It's already got the information in there, the website that I got it from. It just makes your whole life a little bit easier. And that's just what I'm trying to get across to everybody, is try to make your life as easy as possible. You know, this is not cheating, so to speak. It's just, it's a tool. Use it. And like I said, I'm going to start getting a little bit harder on you guys about, if you don't have a reference in your paper, I'm going to start marking off points for that, because you do need to start referencing and backing up your claims. Like I said, a lot of you have great arguments, but then I'm sitting there going, okay, but how do you know this? How? And that's what you don't want the reader to do. You want the reader to come in and say, oh, okay, she got it from here, he got it from there. Awesome. I can go and read that page, you know, except that I had a faulty page. So you can see where that can be frustrating too. And like if you go on Wikipedia too, you'll see at the bottom, the references are all listed out and they look all similar to this. And that's just people using citations and references. And that's why you see the little one up at the top and you can click on that. It's a little bit different format, but you know, that's more of a research format than it is a writing paper format. But you can see how easy it is. So you know, you can even change the style of it. There are this many different styles of writing styles that you know, papers. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the MLA as well. So it just depends on, again, on the instructor, whether they want APA or MLA or Chicago. Those are the three most common ones you will ever see. So, you know, I just, again, want you to just be very cognizant that this is available to you. It's an easy tool. So, and the goal of getting these citations is to get you out of your comfort zone, to go and find the information that's going to back you up. Part of ethics is the critical thinking part. It's very, very important that you are able to back it up with some facts, what you are saying, and being able to see it from other people's point of view. So maybe you want to debate yourself. Maybe you want to write in against how you feel and then find the facts. And that's really going to broaden who you are and how you perceive things in the world. And I think that that's just an important thing that you must do. You have to do this. It's going to be something that is a positive in your life, and that's why you're going to school. So anyway, like I promised, it was very quick and easy. It's not very difficult. I am more than willing to help you if you need help. If you have other questions, I believe that I have sent an email to all of you with my cell phone number. I am willing to talk to you if you need to talk. You want to Zoom, let me know. I am more than happy to do it if I have time. I am a texter. My phone is constantly with me. So, you know, you'll hear from me as quickly as I can get to it. Well, you know, I'm not always 100% on my phone, you know, but I am checking it constantly. And I do want you to feel like, if I don't know. I mean, I've had some students say, I don't understand this question. Or I even had a student today correct me that I had a typo in assignment 4 that was kind of causing some confusion. And I really appreciate hearing from you. I want to hear from you. If you're having troubles, I want to hear from you. I don't want you to fall behind or not do something because, you know, you didn't know how to do it, or you didn't reach out to ask the question. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you become successful in your class. So with that being said, if any of you have any questions, please let me know. I will open it up to you, and I'm wondering though, real quick, if I have a source, because I kind of wanted to show you what a no date source looks like. And I may not have one. So, and don't be afraid, because I have so many, I have a lot of references. One of my last papers, just to scare you guys real good, I had 50, no, I'm sorry, I had 27 references in one of my papers. So, but of course it was a huge paper. So, but that'll come. I can't find one with no date, but I would definitely, oh, look at that, first try. Let's go ahead and add that one. Just so you could kind of see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and update this then. Okay, and you see there, I just clicked on that update. It automatically updates as soon as you put in another citation. You can put them in as you go along, but I wanted you to see how it was with a no date. That's what it would look like. So even if you don't put it, Word will understand that you don't have a date in there, and they'll put in no date for you. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to open up for questions. If you don't have any, that's fine. Again, reach out to me if you do and you don't want to ask here, it's okay. Also, I am on campus Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 p.m. So you can come stop by my office. I'm in building 6, room 6235. And if you're on campus, you know, it's the elevators up in building 6. I'm right across from the elevators on the 2nd floor. So, and I have a calendar up there. So if I'm not in my office, you'll kind of know where I'm at and when I'll be back. So, all right, I'm leaving it up to you guys. If no questions, that's fine. We'll close it down and we'll go from there.
Well, I have two.
Okay.
I noticed that you don't use the little 1, 2, 3 in your references.
No, because you don't do that. Again, you wouldn't do that unless you are doing a research paper. That's more of a research paper because you're doing footnotes and you're doing like Wikipedia. If it's a research paper, then you're going to use a different style. And I think that's more the Chicago style than it is the MLA or APA style.
And my second question is, you've probably seen me do this. I'll put quote marks around a particular word.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do that is because I'm using that word in a way that you would not normally see the word used.
Sure.
So it's a way of making people aware that, you know, this is a word that don't look it up in the dictionary. That's not what it means.
Well, and it's okay to do that, but I'll tell you, as you go through your, you know, as you start going into the bachelor's and master programs, they don't really require that as much, because it used to be, I know exactly what you're saying is, you know, you're kind of using it out of context and,
right.
you know, or making an emphasis of something. And it's really not required in the higher levels. And I'm not sure why. I couldn't answer that for you. You know, and it's not something that I would ever take points off for, because it is definitely something I do as well, is because you want to make a point, but you want them to also understand how you're using the word. So I get where you're coming from, but it isn't required, you know, just so that you know, it's just probably a personal style, but when you're doing research papers and stuff, it's less likely that you would see them in that.
It is a personal style to me.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay, you know,
And
again.
I'll find out about it next year when I'm a junior.
Yeah, you will. And that's, you know, and each instructor is different. You know, I am not a writing instructor, just so y'all know that. My mother was a reading specialist. So, and she basically was able to, like, if you got to 7th grade and really couldn't read well, she was the type of, she would work with you and teach you how to read appropriately for your age level. So she has a very strong English background. And so I've always been able to pick up on those nuances, because she's always, I gave her my papers to read and say, okay, fix them for me. Tell me what I did wrong and what I need to do. So, so I got, you know, another recommendation, and Wayne, you're very good about this anyway, is the KISS theory, you know, keep it simple, stupid. Write like you're writing to a 6th grader. You don't have to use big words. You don't have to mix them up. Getting straight to the point and given the information that you need to get out there, just do it. Don't, and such as, and I don't know, how some people can just kind of twist the words around and they're thinking that they're sounding like, I'm so smart and stuff. And I'm not trying to just minimize anybody's writing or anything. But when you're writing a paper, you really want to write so that if somebody picks it up, they can understand what you're writing about. What the heck, sometimes I know you've all seen papers where you're going, try to reading a legal document or a bill that's going before Senate or something. And you're just kind of like, what did I just read? And you don't want that.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. What the heck, and that's why people don't read those things, and there's a reason for it. But just keep it simple, but get your facts out there and back up your facts. I know we were talking earlier, Raina and I, that reaching the 300 word mark is really hard. And I'll tell you, I was telling Wayne earlier that I was writing a grant, and they gave me a 500 word limit. And I struggled very, very hard actually to keep it under 500 words, because as you progress, you're going to get better at writing those sentences and those, the paragraphs that you need. And you're going to be going, but I have so much more to tell you. Just be patient with yourself. Try to get to the 300 mark. I have not marked anybody down for not having 300 words in their discussion board, but I really just want you guys to just get inside and say, okay, I can. This is something that I you don't have to be passionate like me. I don't expect it, but just try to get outside of that comfort zone. Go find some information. You put something into the discussion board, find a way to back it up if you want to, but it's just a good practice to have. That's all I'm just trying to say. So, but as far as the assignments, you're going to find in all of your classes, you're going to be needing to do citations regardless. And if you haven't taken a Writing 121 or 227 class, you will be required to do it. And most of them are requiring at least 3 citations. It doesn't hurt to have more. It hurts to have less. That's a good way of looking at it. And, if you find 5 articles that back up your claim, then put them in there. Cite them. Use them. It's okay. And again, try to just paraphrase from what you read. And that's going to make you a stronger writer. I mean, everybody has really upped their games the last assignment. I was really, really excited to see everybody's papers. Was just phenomenal, the change from week 1 to week 3. So it was really exciting for me that to see you guys starting to get into the book and into the questions and stuff like that. And like I say, you don't have to be as passionate as I am about ethics, but it's kind of an interesting topic. But everybody says that about their courses. So, all right. So any other questions, Shannon, Jordan? If not, that's okay. Because I will have this posted so everybody can see it. Because not everybody showed up, but everybody who did show up will get extra points. So you'll be ahead of the game. So, I'm a little disappointed at some people that should have showed up and didn't. So, all right. Well, then I think that what I'm going to tell you guys now then is I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. I think you guys